Hi, this is Rebecca Forstat with Booming in LA, and I am going to take you to all my favorite places in Los Angeles. Today, I happen to be in Hollywood, and I'm going to be heading down to Hollywood Boulevard, which is probably a place that you don't really want to come and visit, but I thought I'd show it to you anyway. There are some fun places to go when you're there, but otherwise it's kind of, well, it's actually a little on the sleazy side if you ask me. But anyway, you'll see. I'm standing right next to the Capitol Records building. I don't know if you can see it. There he goes. We all know what that is, right? So here we go. Now I'm walking past what is called the Avalon Theater. It used to be called the Hollywood Palace. And it's kind of a like real deco kind of cool place that they use for kind of as a nightclub or for special events. It's pretty cool. So you kind of get an idea of how pretty it is. There we go. It's really cool inside too. I'll show you some pictures. So this is the corner of the so-called glamorous Hollywood and Vine. And if you can see up here, you can see a sign that says Hollywood and Vine. This is a tour bus. There's a whole lot of them here. And there's lots of noise on this street, so excuse the noise. Check it out, we're on the Walk of Fame. The famous Walk of Fame. Oh look, there's Mark Wahlberg. And Mark Harmon. One of the cool things you can do on Hollywood Boulevard is go see a show at the Pantages. It's a beautiful Pantages theater. And right now they're showing Moulin Rouge, I think. Moulin Rouge. So this is a food truck. If you're ever in Hollywood or anywhere in Los Angeles, you got to try all the food trucks. They're amazing. This is the famous Frolic Room. It's an old bar in Hollywood. There's some really cool old bars that you can go to. I like this one. Oh, here's an old star. Look at that. It's Jackie Gleason. And Buster Keaton. That's an old one. I'm going to take you across the street. This is on Argyle and Hollywood Boulevard. This is the new location of Amoeba Records. And it's a kind of a cool place if you're really into music. You can also get every kind of band t-shirt there is, except that they don't come in V-neck, which is a bummer because those are the only ones that I can wear. So here it is. Here's Amoeba Records. It's a pretty cool place. I'm not going to go in there because don't want me to buy something. So as you can see, we do have our share of homeless people here. In fact, there's quite a few on Hollywood Boulevard. They probably won't bother you unless you get in their space, but I would pretty much leave them alone and just be safe. Now over here is the Hollywood Metro Station. This is my favorite way to get to Hollywood because I don't really like driving a whole lot, but it's really easy to take the Metro and you can get off at Vine Street. There's also a stop on Hollywood and Highland, which we'll go to in a little bit. There are some cool restaurants that you can go to around here. This is near the Pantages. I was living in Hollywood in the 90s, right before the earthquake. And during the earthquake, Hollywood Boulevard really got nailed because a lot of the buildings were not up to code. So a lot of them were red tagged and they ended up being fixed or new buildings were built. So that was a good thing, I guess, but it took away some of the old charm of it. Because of COVID, things kind of went slightly downhill again. Hopefully it's coming back to its kind of charming self, if you could call it that. So this is another interesting aspect of Hollywood Boulevard. There's a lot of Scientology buildings up here. They're kind of all over the place. It used to be where people would, you know, come after you and want you to do interviews. They're not quite as bad anymore. I think a lot of the buildings are sort of actually empty. Of course, we've got our souvenir shops and tour operators. Now, if you want to go see the homes of celebrities, I wouldn't really recommend that. I mean, it's kind of rude, don't you think? There are some cool tours that you can go on. There's a big bus tour, which I have gone on in London and Rome and Madrid, which were really cool, and now it's in Los Angeles. And there's also Starline tours, which will take you on various tours, but I would avoid the celebrity houses. One that I've been on was the movie locations, where they actually take you to the studios and various locations around the city. Normally, Hollywood Boulevard is really, really busy, especially on the weekends, but I'm here on a Tuesday, so it's kind of a little on the tame side right now. If you go on the weekends, it is insane. Also, if you expect to see celebrities around here, you are not going to see them. The only ones that you might see are Mickey Mouse, Spider-Man, and maybe Darth Vader. I'll show you those in a little bit. We also have our share of smoke shops, if that's your thing. Do you need any lingerie? Got some fun stuff in here. Oh baby. Of course, you gotta get a tattoo while you're down here too, right? If you do venture down here, I would suggest you hang on to your purse with dear life. You just don't know what's gonna happen. Here's a costume store. Need an astronaut outfit? So right across the street is the famous Musso and Frank's, which is the oldest restaurant in Hollywood since 1919. And you've probably seen a lot of movies shot inside of there. It's very famous, and it's actually a great place to eat or have a martini. I'm coming up on the Egyptian Theater, which was totally nailed during the earthquake. The whole thing came down. It was really nasty, but they rebuilt it and made it into the Hollywood Cinematheque, which is a film society that shows all kinds of cool movies. Looks like they're doing something else to it now. It's kind of a mess. Somewhere over there across the street, I actually used to go to the Lee Strasberg Institute, which moved somewhere else when I was studying acting. Another Scientology building. Now we're coming closer to Hollywood and Highland, where it starts to get really schlocky. There's all kinds of crazy museums. Right across the street is the Museum of Illusions, which is where you can get some crazy Instagram pictures. I actually did that once. A little farther down is the Hollywood Wax Museum, so you can kind of see where we're going around here. There's some tour buses, and we may start to see some crazy characters coming up pretty soon when we get closer to the Dolby. The Guinness Book of World Records. This is Ripley's Believe It or Not. There's a dinosaur at the top of this building. If I can get a shot of that. Over here is where they have the Oscars. It's where the Dolby Theater is. That's probably the only time you'll ever see a celebrity here. But there is one cool place you can go. It's called Japan House. And I actually wrote a blog post about it. Learning Japanese. Now here's where we're going to start seeing some freaks. And there's Mickey and Minnie walking around. There's this guy doing whatever. You have to be really careful because these guys are kind of assholes. Like, they're gonna ask you for money if you take a picture of them. So I know that a lot of them are starving actors. Oh, here's the other metro stop. So you can get off right here, right in the middle of everything. And then there's all the tour buses lined up ready to take tourists all around LA. They go everywhere. But right across the street is one of my favorite theaters. It's the El Capitan. See if we can see it. That's a beautiful theater inside, and they have a Wurlitzer organ. So if you go on certain times, you can watch the organ player when they're doing special events. Look at all those tourists. Actually, it's pretty tame today. Usually you see a lot more characters. And sometimes you even see some Instagram dancers. I've seen a few of those. One time I saw the whole cast of Dancing with the Stars just right on the street over here. Got the Hard Rock. And lots of noise. Here's the famous Grauman's Chinese Theater, which is not called Grauman's anymore. It's called the TCL Theater. And it's been divided into a bunch of little theaters. But you still can see all the footprints. There they are. There's Olivia de Havilland right there. Who else? Donald Duck! Madame Tussauds. Ooh, look at those Oscar guys there. Right across the street is the beautiful Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. I love this place. It's gorgeous inside. This is definitely worth visiting if you can, or even staying at. They say there's some haunted activity going on in there. Let's see if we can get in there. I don't know. So this is inside the Hollywood Roosevelt. It's so pretty. I love this place. So the Roosevelt is a great place to go for a drink or hang out at their pool, which is kind of a cool place to network. So as you can see, it's a pretty wild and crazy place. You have to have a stomach for this. It's very touristy, and you know, maybe it's better to see it on film than actually walk around here. I'm gonna make my way back to my car, which is way up on Vine Street, and get some good steps in today. This is where they shoot the Jimmy Kimmel show. So if you have any chance of seeing a celebrity, it might be here if he comes out onto the street, but I don't think that happens very often. This is an old, I think it's a Masonic temple, it used to be. It's pretty cool. It's right across the street from Hollywood and Highland. So here's a close-up of the lobby of the El Capitan. It's very pretty. This was actually restored. It was covered over and made into kind of like a 60s or 70s style. It's called the Paramount Theater until they uncovered all of this beauty that was here from a long, long time ago. One thing I would suggest, probably don't stay here, I don't know. One thing you can do is you could stay in some place like Universal City, which is right next to Universal Studios, and then the subway, the LA Metro, there's a stop right there, and you can easily get to Hollywood Boulevard in just a couple of stops. You can also take it all the way downtown to Union Station. Hey look, Elvis is here. Woohoo! And right here you can get a good view of the dinosaur on the top of the Ripley's, believe it or not. Oh, down here too, this is kind of cool. There's a very cool Mel's Diner down there. It used to be the Max Factor building. I'm pretty sure this shop has been here since at least the 60s, if I remember it. They sell everything you need to smoke. This beautiful white building with the gold trim used to be the Fredericks of Hollywood building, but as you can see, there's plenty of lingerie all over the place. The Hollywood Magic Store is a really, really old store. This thing has been there forever. This is kind of a cool little shopping, eating center. And at the very end of it, there's this really old Victorian house that has been turned into various restaurants. But it is really cool. Let's see what it is now. I don't know. Oh, you can't even see the top of it. Anyway, this is an old Victorian inside. You can't really see it from here, but this is a really neat little enclave right off of Hollywood Boulevard. Nice place to eat or have a drink. This is an old building. It's now apartments, just right on the boulevard. So as you can see, Hollywood Boulevard has its edgy side, but it's still kind of interesting. I would just be careful if you decide to come here. Don't expect anything. It's a little on the dirty side. You might want to bring hand sanitizer along with you. depending on where you go. I'm almost back at Vine Street, so we've kind of walked almost the entire boulevard. There's probably a few things that I missed out here. You know, there's the old Pig and Whistle restaurant. That's a cool place to go. There's a lot of bars, like cool little bars, like old ones, just hidden away, but you kind of have to know where they are. I'm back.